Unrivaled just watched 65% of its audience vanish in a single year. Meanwhile, WNBA players who were threatening to strike just last month are now pleading to keep playing under their previous pay. Here's a closer look at how this empire is literally falling apart before our eyes.
There is no interest in pretend basketball. I have been telling you guys for years, as the mainstream media has intentionally lied to us. These elite athletes are amazing! This is the best basketball in the world! Woo!
The stats are merciless, and they don't lie. Unrivaled Season 2 premiered on TNT to just 107,000 viewers. Compare that to last year's opener, 313,000. This isn't a small drop, it's a free fall. And here's the uncomfortable truth everyone's avoiding. The only reason fans still tune in proves she's absolutely irreplaceable.
Season 2 of Unrivaled, opening night. They averaged 107,000 viewers on TNT. That is a 65% decline compared to last year.
Because let's be honest, when Caitlin Clark isn't on the screen, nobody's tuning in. Not Angel Reese, not Paige Buchers, not Aja Wilson, or whoever's supposed to be the draw this week. Unrivaled is shelling out $348,000 to Paige Buchers for an audience of 17,000. Do the math, I'll wait. TNT has spent millions hyping this league. The mainstream media promised us that women's basketball was booming, that elite athletes deserved our attention and our wallets. But the numbers told a harsher story. The audience isn't asking for more women's basketball, they're demanding less. Now, let's get into the real reason Unrivaled exists. On the surface, it's about giving WNBA players leverage. It's supposed to provide options so they can negotiate better contracts. Sounds noble, right? But here's the catch. A backup plan only works if it actually works. Unrivaled was supposed to be their secret weapon in negotiations. Players would walk into that boardroom confident, knowing they had another path. They'd threaten to leave, demand a bigger cut of revenue, hold their ground, because Unrivaled would be there to catch them if things fell apart. Except it isn't catching anyone. It's collapsing faster than the players themselves. The collective bargaining agreement deadline? Supposed to be today. Obviously that's not happening. And here's the kicker. After months of tough talk, after threatening strikes, after insisting they deserve better, they're now seriously considering playing under the old CBA. The same deal they once called insulting, the same crumbs they said were unacceptable.
For months now, WNBA players have publicly claimed that we are standing firm, we are fighting for our right to be overpaid, we are fighting for our right to be compensated with money we have no way of earning.
How do you go from demanding millions to settling for scraps in just 2 months? It's simple. You lose your leverage. Every time Unrivaled posts another pitiful rating, WNBA players weaken in the negotiation room. Every time TNT executives see those numbers and question their investment, the players' bargaining power shrinks. The NBA offered 50% of net revenue. That's what's left after expenses. Fair for a league that's been losing money for 30 years straight, right? But WNBA players rejected it. They want 30% of gross revenue. The total before costs are deducted. That deal would cost the league $700 million more than it's lost in its entire 30-year history. Here's the irony. The league is offering the contracts they originally asked for, but now, convinced of their own importance, they'd rather play under the old CBA than accept the very deal they once demanded. Newsflash, the electric company doesn't care about your principles, and neither does your landlord when rent is due. The market is brutally honest. All those headlines about women's basketball exploding, smoke and mirrors, all the talk about rising stars, fiction. Growth wasn't real. It was just going from nothing to slightly more than nothing while the media pretended it was revolutionary. Playing under the old CBA gives the players power. They could strike at any moment, but it also means the league has zero incentive to rush negotiations. Why would they? The product on the court is already hurting the brand. Let the players walk. Let the world see how replaceable they really are. Here's what nobody wants to say. The WNBA survives only because of NBA subsidies. Billionaire owners have patiently pumped millions into a league that delivers losses, complaints, and headaches. But patience has limits. With Unrivaled proving there's no alternative market, those limits are being tested. Nafisa Collier can talk about sustainability. Brianna Stewart can tout Unrivaled as the future. But when opening night drops 65% of last year's already weak audience, the message is clear. TNT can't keep throwing money at a product that can't even draw flies to fresh garbage. The WNBA has one advantage over for new leagues. Longevity, 30 years of survival thanks to NBA support, but surviving isn't thriving. And now, with every alternative league failing, WNBA players should be grateful for what they have. Instead, they're asking for more from a system already giving them everything. Project Polson or whatever other startup tries to save them won't work either. Investors keep making the same mistake. They think the product is solid but under-marketed. They believe with enough promotion, women's basketball will find its audience. They're wrong. The audience has repeatedly rejected it. Paige Bueckers is a perfect example of fake stardom. One of the highest paid players in Unrivaled, constantly hyped by media as the next big thing. Yet opening night drew only 107,000 viewers. That's a minor league baseball game on a Tuesday afternoon or a college volleyball match. That's not stardom. That's marketing pretending to be stardom. The WNBA Players Union made a catastrophic miscalculation. They assumed Caitlin Clark's popularity would lift the entire league. It didn't, and now the fallout is coming fast. They assumed that one generational talent meant every player deserved generational pay. They convinced themselves that correlation equals causation. Now reality is hitting harder than a Brittany Griner elbow to the jaw. If the 2026 season runs under the old CBA, watch the story flip. The same players preaching solidarity will be first in line for individual deals. The same athletes demanding equity will suddenly realize equity means splitting pennies. When beliefs don't cover the bills, beliefs become flexible, fast. Let's be honest, the NBA doesn't need the WNBA. Not for publicity, not for social credit, not for anything. It's charity dressed up as partnership. The moment it stops being worth the trouble, it ends. WNBA players keep acting like they have leverage. They don't. They only have the illusion of leverage, and that illusion is collapsing with every unrivaled broadcast. The mainstream media won't admit it. They'll keep spinning the growth narrative, praising mediocre players as elite, but the ratings don't care about stories, agendas, or feelings. The market only tells the truth. The failure of Unrivaled isn't just one league folding. It proves that women's basketball as a commercial product has a ceiling. That ceiling is Caitlin Clark. Without her, 107,000 viewers on a major network. With her, numbers that actually matter. Remove her, and the whole ecosystem crumbles back into irrelevance. Here's the reality ahead. WNBA players either accept something close to the old CBA, or they strike and risk getting replaced. Unrivaled either shuts down after this season, or limps along burning investor cash until someone finally pulls the plug. The media will continue lying about non-existent growth, and a year from now, we'll be having the same conversation because nothing will have changed. The house of cards is collapsing. The emperor is naked. Pick your metaphor. They all fit. Women's basketball was handed a golden opportunity with Caitlin Clark. Instead of building around her, the league resented her. Instead of turning real interest into growth, they treated fake interest as if it counted the same. And here's the market lesson. Eventually, you're worth what someone will pay, not what you think you deserve. So what do you think? Should WNBA players take the old deal or risk a strike? Honestly, at this point, it's hard to say which choice would be more embarrassing.